Hey everyone, my guest today is Michael Castillero. Michael is a former Wall Street broker and co founder of StraightPath Venture Partners, a firm that specialized in giving everyday investors access to pre IPO shares in high profile companies like Airbnb, SpaceX, and others. In 2022, Michael, along with his business partners, faced charges involving allegations of securities fraud, wire fraud, investment advisor fraud, and more related to how StraightPath funds operated. Michael and his co-defendants went to trial, were convicted in late 2025, and Michael was later sentenced to 11 years in prison. He maintains his innocence and has been outspoken about what he sees as government overreach, regulatory issues, and a misunderstanding of their business model. Today, we'll hear Michael's side of the story, the details of the case, the impact on his life and family, and his perspective on the broader system. Welcome to the show, Michael.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, of course. Now, okay, I saw that you were connected. You had some mutual connections with American Rights Alliance and some free speech issues. Would you be able to tell the audience about yourself and what you're going through right now?
So I used to own a fund called StraightPath Venture Partners. Me and two partners owned the company. Our forte was, and our niche was on pre-IPO securities. So basically, you would be investing in the top shares of Palantir, Airbnb, the top 10 companies in the world that were on the cusp or might go public. Maybe will go public, but the better chance for it to go public. And during President Trump's first term, SEC Chair Jay Clayton at the time was a very big advocate of giving the regular guy a seat at the table in these investments.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how my business flourished. You know, it wasn't something that he said, "Oh, you need to invest in this product," but it opens more to the regular guy if the head of the regulatory body is advocating or stating that this is a business that he'd like to see more regular mom and pop investors.
Mm-hmm.
And we were extremely successful.
Yeah.
We were showing our clients 2 to 3x returns. Palantir was about a 3x. Airbnb was a double. SoFi, Pinterest, all the type, all the regular day names. And
Yeah.
when the election got stolen in 2020, we
Mm-hmm.
were in a position where by the end of 21, they were auditing us, not knowing that their intent was to basically take the company from us.
Yeah.
So by May 13th of 2022, the SEC now, from discussing the negotiation of a fine that they wanted to impose on us for some administrative errors, we knew they just wanted their taste per se.
Mm-hmm.
They went from that to basically taking our business overnight.
Yeah.
That was Judge Kaplan signed that order in the Southern District of New York. We know him from the President's Agent Carroll case.
Mm-hmm.
About a year and a half passed. And out of that, they decided to. So they took the company on May 13th on 2022. They called us a Ponzi-like, not a Ponzi scheme, a Ponzi-like. I don't know what the Ponzi-like still is, but it's either you or you're not. And then comes a year and a half later, they charge us criminally for investment advisor fraud, conspiracy, securities fraud, obstruction of justice, and all these charges that all irrelevant to what we were. Because Sam, we were a private fund. So we were what's called an exempt reporting advisor.
Okay.
So everything that we gave to the government was voluntary. And we were ultra compliant because we had nothing to hide and we were running a good business. So if the government asked for something, we just gave it to them because that's who we are. And so basically, they used everything they gave to concoct a criminal case out of nothing. And this is where we are
Yeah.
today.
So the Southern District of New York keeps coming up in my work, just with certain Epstein file stuff. I cover the Epstein files. So then I actually just covered Jay Clayton's appearance in them, which was just because of the Southern District of New York connection. But um, also with Eugene Carroll, it just seems like there's a lot going on that's not above board over there. Is that a correct? I mean, because I see Eugene Carroll's getting sued now or whatever for
Right.
perjuring herself. And I don't think people are paying enough attention to what's happening here. As you described, after the 2020 election, they didn't just start going after Trump. They started going after Trump supporters,
Mm-hmm.
conservatives in general, and of course it's not in the media. And so the everything's being weaponized
And they
against
don't. The big
supporters.
media doesn't care because I've exhausted. I've
Yeah.
exhausted. I'm telling you, when I tell you that I text them once a day,
Hmm.
I might do it. I might text them 2 to 3 times a day. I'm just keeping it for your viewers like that. But
Yeah.
it's because there is a story here, and it ties into the weaponization of government into some district in New York. And
Yeah.
Newsmax people don't care. Fox doesn't care. They just don't care. They want to keep regurgitating the same story that a rocket flew over Iran today and landed in the ocean, and now they all want to run over it and use that story 38 million times. Or the president went to
Yeah.
the Knicks game. What about the real story? What about the real people that are getting destroyed? I've
Yeah.
met through X. I've met hundreds of people that it's
Hmm.
like we formed this fraternity we don't want to be in, and the only thing that I have in common with these people is our conservative beliefs.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is it.
Yeah, and you describe it perfectly. I've actually been thinking about this a lot lately, is that we're so focused on other countries and what's happening there that American citizens, the people voting for these politicians, the people that are voting for certain things, are getting completely ignored. Like, no one's actually doing anything for us, it feels like. Even, I mean, I know Trump I know Trump is busy. I see he's gotten a lot of judicial nominees through, but people need help. It's
The regular guys needs help, and that's the problem.
mhm.
The problem is that we are still they're keeping us in the background. And I mean, I can't vote this year. I'm indicted. I'm supposed to be in jail September 10th. I'm supposed to tell myself
Right.
then. We're filing an appeal, obviously. Uh,
Yeah.
you know, I'm 48. My partner's 50, and my other business partner, Fran, she's 62. You're gonna
Yeah.
put her in jail? I mean, this lady's been in financial services almost 40 years, and now
Right.
all of a sudden she decides to commit a crime 4 years ago. Come on,
Right.
it's absurd.
Yeah. And so when I was going through the information that you sent me, it some of the transcripts were interesting. It sounded like they almost admitted that there wasn't really a crime that occurred, but it was like they were kind of I I just feel it just seems like you guys were being targeted. Like it can you explain this a little bit more?
I think the pre-IPO industry was being targeted because when the administrations changed over, Gary Gensler came in to be the chair of the SEC, and he's an old uh, uh, Goldman
Goldman
Sachs
Sachs?
CEO.
Mhm.
So uh, the few $1 million that we were making was costing Goldman, Morgan, and all these other companies billions of dollars in revenue. If a company went public the traditional way,
Mhm.
following uh, using Goldman and Morgan and all them, it's 500 million to $1 billion to take you public. Plus, all those private shares get hoarded by the investment banking arm. which then releases them to the brokerage side of it. So now, if Sam, if you were a client of Goldman Sachs, and let's say you
Mhm.
had $10 million in a bank account, in a brokerage account with them, but you wanted to buy shares of Airbnb, let's say, because it's going public, the only
Yeah.
way to do that is they're going to call you up and tell you that you need to have at least 25 million in a brokerage account with them to be able to own some of Airbnb. So they're, they were taking these shares and they were hoarding them
Mhm.
to increase their numbers all across the board, company wise. So we disrupted that.
Yeah.
There's I think 9 or 11 funds like mine that have been persecuted, and there are some that are still operating. But the thing is, why some were taken out, and I've done the homework on this. It's they either came from red areas.
Mhm.
Okay, about 4 or 5 of the funds came where the founders were from Staten Island, New York. Staten Island's as red as you could be.
Okay.
That's where I lived till I moved
Okay.
to Martin County in Florida.
Yeah.
So, um, or they were very vocal of their beliefs.
Mhm.
So it is insane to be targeted. And I'll tell you, I was targeted because in January 21, I moved to Florida. As Biden's getting sworn in, I'm taking a tour of Trump Jupiter because I said, honey, we don't know anybody here. Might as well become friends with people like us.
Right.
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 And I'm a big believer in paying it forward. So what I wanted to do was join somewhere, pay. I said, honey, this election was stolen. This is the way of paying it back to President Trump for giving us the American dream.
Yeah.
And that, not thinking that I'd be facing now 11 years in jail, one for speaking my mind, and for all this.
Yeah. So what are the charges? And do you and your partners all have the same, are you all facing the same thing?
So two counts of obstruction of justice for me and Brian Marnes and my partner.
Okay.
Uh, the other four are investment advisor charge, conspiracy to commit investment advisor fraud, wire fraud, and securities fraud.
Okay. And what what are they trying to say?
That we ran an illegitimate business. That we were not disclosing the markups.
Okay.
Everything has a disclaimer. Now, Sam, the reason why the government wants to get us is because we were probably the largest of the private equity funds out there.
Mhm.
Because not because we had a secret sauce to marketing or anything else, because we were the cheapest in pricing. And clients, consumers always buy what's cheapest. If you have an opportunity to buy the same thing and save $1 doing it here, you're going to do it. And that's what we grew. We were a volume based business. And they said that we were not disclosing the markups, which
Mhm.
is ridiculous because there's about 7 or 8 times in our private placement memorandum, 127-page document, I think it was.
Okay.
It said it there 6 or 7 times. Plus, if I'm not charging a markup, how am I going to keep the lights on?
Right.
There's no other fees, there's no other commissions, there's nothing else of that sort that was being charged.
Right. Right. Now, and what happens to your clients?
So they took the company from us.
Mhm.
Uh, they appointed, well, no. So they basically we suggested a receiver,
Mhm.
right? So they put our company into bankruptcy. They issued a court appointed receiver, they put it into bankruptcy, and we suggested a receiver that had a relationship with our accountant, right? Because our accountant knew all our books.
Yeah.
The government suggested a receiver, nothing. Judge Kaplan decides to appoint a receiver out of nowhere. I say it's his friend. I don't know if she really is his friend or not,
Right.
but she should not have been appointed receiver of this company because they went out of this way to bankrupt this company that, by the way, 4 years later has generated over 30 million in revenue for the
Right.
receiver. So how is a Ponzi like scheme still generating revenue for the court appointed receiver.
Right. Right. It, yeah, I mean the judge thing sounds like a conflict of interest. But it it just seems like anytime the SDNY is brought up in something, there's something crooked going on, something shady. Um,
Yeah.
so you what happens between now and September 10th?
On September 10th, I'm supposed to turn myself in. That's my voluntary
Hmm.
surrender. We filed an appeal with the Southern District.
Hmm.
We're dealing with Judge Jesse Furman. He
Okay.
actually uh, gave me an extra year in jail because he says by me doing media from the trial to sentencing, it shows I'm not remorseful. But how are you remorseful if you didn't commit a crime?
Right. Yeah, you're not
My partner Fran, she's
exactly.
62. She's 62. She mentioned in her statement to the court that how her daughter don't understand how this has gotten to this point. And the judge said, "Oh, I guess he." I mean, if my interpretation is she basically called Fran and her daughter dumb. I mean, if I have to give you a statement,
Yeah.
and it's the same thing. It's the Clinton, Obama, Biden appointed judges that are
Yeah.
running rampant, and
Yeah.
and they don't care. They'll let the prosecution, they'll let the DOJ lie till the wits end to just get a conviction, and it's not the
Hmm.
way it should be.
No. No. So i- is she facing 10 years as well?
They're gonna give her 8, so she'll be 70 when she gets out. So you got Tina Peters all
Terrible.
over again.
Yeah. Yes. And w- it's great that Tina Peters is out, but she spent how much of her life? It was obvious her free speech rights were violated. She shouldn't have been in prison in the first place. And how do you make that right? Like she was attacked while she was in prison.
Right?
It they took part of her life away, and she just shouldn't have been there in the first place. Um, what are your chances with the appeal?
Okay, so I mean, there's multiple times in the transcript that the judge said to the prosecution, "You sure you want to go with this because this is all appealable issues." He
Uh
said that
huh.
multiple times, but he also I think he went unhinged. He got a little TDS at sentencing,
Hmm.
especially against me, yelling at me, and his face turned as red as your blouse, and said, I'm not. I don't care about your politics. 3, 4, 5 times yelling it at me at the top of his lung, right? And because
Yeah.
they actually put out a document because I went on Diamond and Silk, and
Hmm.
I actually, you know, they said that because I said my affinity to President Trump is the reason why this was done to me, and they said that is a lie. Wouldn't that be my opinion or my First Amendment right? Not me
Right.
going right. So they put in this 13-page document, and the judge just accepts anything. It's Sam. The best way to explain it is that they are. Let's say I murdered somebody, and they
Uh
say I
huh.
shot them, but there's no gun, there's no bullet casing, and they show up with a knife and say this is how he shot him.
Okay. Also, isn't this just an abuse of power to be punishing you for going to the media? Like, I've never heard of that before, and maybe I just haven't looked into enough things throughout my lifetime where they just add a year to your sentence because you've been trying to make your case with the media. You're trying to speak up for yourself.
Right.
You have that right. Like,
My goal is my goal has always been is to reach an audience of one, right?
yeah.
Because that is the only saving grace that I have. And the American Rights Alliance helped me out a lot, and they brought Peter
Hmm.
Tickton into my life. God bless them. And that's if not, I'd be dead in the water, Sam.
Yeah.
Like I mean, And forget about that. Let's say it does happen and I do have to go to jail. The government's going to put my wife and kids on the street
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they want full forfeiture of every penny I've made, plus another restitution of $115 million for me and my business partners. Of We still don't know where the money goes because the judge got mad when we contested that,
Hmm.
because not one client lost money. And forfeiture is supposed to be when there is a loss somewhere, and there is no losses, but yet they're still creating this forfeiture, like, and it's irrelevant to even discuss where the money's going to
Yeah.
go. How do you block math? How do you block math? How do you block dollars if it's quote unquote a financial crime?
Hmm.
The math never lies. And they filed motions days before trial blocking all the math, blocking the comparison of us and the receiver. How
Yeah.
we had 2,200 customers and no complaints, but the receiver took over the 2,200 customers and there's 250 complaints, or how many there are. Right? They
Right.
block. It's it's unbelievable, and I think that's where it really, really needs to be looked at.
Yeah. 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 So, I just can't believe like all three of you guys are looking at so much time that's over something that doesn't seem to have hurt anybody. It's almost like your competition, that other people didn't like your competition and
They
they needed
didn't.
to take you out.
My industry, they wanted to kill my industry. They
Hmm.
wanted to kill it. Goldman Morgan were losing money, whether
Yeah.
they were losing billions of dollars. The few
Yeah.
million that we made cost them billions.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it. Just it to me, it's an obvious. You were taking power and money away, and they had to take you out
Yep.
and use some bullshit excuse to
Yep.
do so. Um, where where do you where do you hope to see yourself like a month from now? Or
Pardoned,
yeah.
or maybe the new uh, AG for Washington, really decides to look at this.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done my share of media, and I've done my share of letters that I've sent to DC, whether it's filing a claim with the weaponization fund,
Hmm.
uh, whether it's filing complaints with the OIGs against the prosecutors, or sending it to the Congress Oversight Committee as well. And and up to recently, I was, my wife was going through my son's phone, and my son, my 13-year old, messaging Trump on all media outlets, and
Right. I saw that.
that's a big heartbreaker. Like, because it's not me. It's what are they doing to them,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The families, right? It's crazy. It's
Yeah.
crazy. It's crazy that no family should endure this. I get it.
Mhm.
Listen, if there's a crime and a crime's committed, yes, absolutely punish the guy.
Right. Right.
But but when there is none and you can't prove it, or you go out of your way to hide just to get a conviction so you could go get yourself a better job as an AUSA somewhere, and you're just sitting there destroy lives, there's something just wrong, evil, and demonic.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's eh, it's not enough to ruin one life. It's like they have to ruin the family and anyone you're connected with so that you're not able to rise back up.
You're gonna put my wife and kids on the street. What
Yeah.
chance do they have? Because they don't care when they separate. Everybody goes in an uproar where when you separate the family of an illegal, right?
Hmm.
Nobody gives a crap if you separate my family and put them on the street.
Right. Yeah.
But if they claim they were illegal, I'm sure that they get free housing or something, in New York, California, or wherever else.
Right. Right. that's that's unfortunately how our country's been working. No matter how much they try to correct it, it's still there's so much work to do to get the good parts of America back. Um, it's it's insane how much damage was done during Biden's term.
Still being done, not was
Yeah.
still, because there's a
Yeah.
lot of rogue stuff happening that, Donald Trump's only one man. I mean,
Yeah.
how many things can he handle and do, and how many people are keeping things from his cabinet and from him,
Right.
right? People could still operate because there's career prosecutors and whatnot.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a very good point too, because they have been having to root out bad actors within every department. And they say that Trump's an authoritarian, Trump's this, Trump's that, and it's like the common phrase is, I just wish he was 1/10 of what these people with TDS are claiming he is. So that because I mean he's still following the law to the he's still getting blocked by judges for a lot of different things. He's
Right?
still
He could have been a tyrant, walked in, arrested everybody that should have been arrested, and the world would have and nobody would have ever questioned him for it.
right. And they're saying the fact that he didn't do it is not changing their rhetoric. They're still acting like he has done that.
Like he
So
is doing it, right?
so he's not saving his reputation by
So it's almost like he should do it,
yeah, that's what I think personally, but
right? I think
um
so. I'm all for it. Let him.
yeah.
You know, I said let him
Yeah.
be an emperor for a little bit, clean up the country for a year, and then let it go back to normal.
Right.
Almost like it
Right.
needs to be. It needs a reset like that, right? Because it's too
Yeah.
far down the opposite extreme.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Hey guys, sorry to interrupt. I just wanted to tell you about my sponsors quick. Sometimes I get on a roll cleaning or gardening, and I need a boost but don't have time for a meal. Big Fork Brand's pork jerky is the perfect choice to keep my momentum, offering high-protein snacks for on-the-go energy boosts. Not only do they offer pork jerky, but they also make pork sticks, bacon sausage, bacon hot dogs, and burger and hot dog sauces. Products come in a variety of delicious flavors, including Thai green curry and maple and brown sugar for the meat options, and gangster and Chicago fire for the sauces. I personally think the original flavor of the pork jerky hits just right after tackling a big chore. It's a little salty and very flavorful. My discount code gives you 20% off your entire order, and it's currently the best deal available. Just visit bigforkbrands.com and enter in my promo code JADE, that's JADE, at checkout. Are you looking for a gift for a music lover, or maybe some apparel to show off your quirky side? Old Glory has you covered. With over 300,000 officially licensed items covering music, sports, entertainment, and pop culture, you're guaranteed to find the perfect item. They even have seasonal gear. My husband enjoys the Beatles and Led Zeppelin apparel, and I love the Billy Idol apparel. I even found items for my fellow plant enthusiasts. This family-owned superstore is known for their quality and customer service, offers free standard shipping on all orders, and orders are shipped the same day you purchase. My discount code gives you 15% off your entire order, and it's currently the best deal available. Just visit oldglory.com and enter in my promo code JADE, that's JADE, at checkout. Looking for a game-changing way to improve your health? Zevo Life is the world's most nutrient-dense whole plant, packed with over 50% plant protein, essential amino acids, fiber, and antioxidants. Harnessing the best nature has to offer, Zevo Life nourishes your body while driving your performance, vitality, and overall well-being. Each serving is a concentrated source of clean, well-balanced nutrition designed to support modern lifestyles, and just 1 teaspoon a day supports your gut, boosts energy, and promotes healthier skin and hair. It's no wonder that it's receiving rave 5-star reviews. Step into a healthier future with a 30% discount and a 30-day risk-free guarantee by visiting zivo.life and using my promo code. To support my show and to receive 30% off your entire order, enter in my promo code JADE, that's JADE, at checkout. So you're wanting to get a hold of Todd Blanche, right? The new attorney general? Is that who?
I mean, whoever can help. I mean, if this were ideally, I mean,
Yeah.
an audience of one, because, like I said before, I was a member of Trump Properties. I was going to Mar-a-Lago regularly with my wife for dinner and
Yeah.
things like that. So it's not like I was just some guy. That, oh, I love Trump. I was literally trying to, you know, pay it forward by doing
Yeah.
those things.
Right.
If those became my places of choice, was not to say, oh my God, I'm going to Mar-a-Lago like trying to be fancy. It
Right.
was my way of paying things forward. I've always believed in that.
Yeah.
So, like,
Yeah.
if I'm ever happy, if I ever get over this hump and it's me and I want to spend the rest of my life paying this forward to make sure that, you know, places like the American Rights Alliance and so on have the
Mhm.
ability to help other
Yeah.
people and they could really get this to that next level.
Yeah. Yeah, it's necessary. And when I was talking with Evan, he pointed out that it's not even it's everyone's right to free speech. It doesn't matter what side of the aisle you're on. They they will
Right.
represent anybody. Um and that's it's fair. They're being fair. They're trying to help people. Um yeah, I feel you're obviously you have the connections, you have some people. I just hope I think I think your message will reach them before September 10th. I I really hope so.
God, it does because, it's the stress is in me. The stress is now the closer we get to that, I have to start looking for a place for my wife to live because they're going to be out of. I got
Yeah,
to figure out how to get them a car. Uh,
right.
because if I get them a car, I lease my wife a car, which I've been debanked out of every institution there is. So my credit score is probably two. So if I lease them a car, that also violates bail. So it's like
Yeah.
I'm not allowed
So
to
w-
even anything.
what was the reasoning for debanking you?
I don't know. I think just the SEC just makes it harder on you. So I don't know where. I was an American Express cardholder since 2000. I'm 48 years old. I one day from one day to the left, they just decided to close it on me. My lawyer says,
Yeah.
yeah, that's just the government just decides to call and make things difficult on you, and they'll just they won't tell them to close the account because technically they can't do it, but they have the influence
Yeah.
to do it.
Which that was a again that does seem to be, as we've seen in the past how many years, recent years, that seems to be a move that they make for people. Where J6ers were debanked as well. And yeah, it's
And it's done
they
with
are trying
JP
to punish
Morgan
you.
Chase. And it's done with JP Morgan Chase.
Mhm.
And the president's not suing JP Morgan Chase for the same thing. They debanked him on his stuff.
Right, right. Yeah. Yes, what it's it's interesting because the more I hear about JP Morgan Chase, it seems like, because aren't they being investigated for certain things they allowed Epstein to do?
Yeah, of
Do you know
course.
anything about that?
I don't really know, but I'm sure, if it's in their little circle, they'll allow it. Or if it's the right
Right.
people, you know, on their narrative, it's allowed and it doesn't, they're not, they'll look the other way and they'll just pay somebody else off when it gets to that point. But
Yeah.
guys, I mean, I was debanked. My wife was debanked. My business partners were debanked just out of nowhere,
Yeah.
just like that. And they were the first ones. And then it was Citigroup and then Wells Fargo. And,
Mhm.
I'm, and the more the government uses their power to subpoena my personal bank statements, my credit card account statements, and everything else, their
Yeah.
compliance makes a makes a decision on fake news, literally.
Yeah.
And every
Yeah.
time like something happened to me, like my wife would be like, "I'm watching TV, and I just have to change Donald Trump's name to your name, and it's the same story."
Right. Right. That and yeah, again, that's a very good point that this is happening to people and we're not hearing about it. Can you tell me a little bit more about the SDNY because I'm learning that there are like you said like the little circle. I'm learning that it does seem like it seems like this big entity, but there are a lot of different connections and a lot of different things at play. Can you kind of explain um I guess I guess kind of their past and their maybe how they make their decisions based off of who they're connected with?
Well, to me, I never really had experience with them, other than that's the building when there's high profile court cases and so on.
Mhm.
The president's case, me being outraged, and then I'm like, then it's Judge Kaplan, and I'm like, oh, oh, that's the guy that took my company. And then all of a sudden, Judge Kaplan, the jury rules in favor of President Trump, saying he did not they rape that woman, and Judge Kaplan changes the ruling um, to say that he didn't rape her, but he could have, and that's why he's guilty, or something like that that happened with the end of his case,
Mhm.
and 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 then criminal and that judge, he's not a good person, I'll tell you, because he goes out of his way to. I mean, they backdoored from my civil to the criminal trial.
Mhm.
They found Judge Kaplan signed off on an order to fully expose my attorney-client privilege.
Right.
So they violated attorney-client privilege civilly to backdoor it into the criminal.
Yeah.
And then you're dealing with Judge Furman. Judge Furman blocked the first deportation that the Trump administration, the second time around, was doing, which was
Mhm.
Mahmoud Khalil. The guy was in Columbia University screaming
Right.
dead to Israel. Now you have a religious Jewish judge
Mhm.
blocking a deportation of a guy yelling dead to Israel.
Right.
I mean, I mean, you're just so how are you a man of honor if you're blocking the deportation of somebody just because you're that stubborn in your political beliefs, even though the guy's basically saying death to you, judge,
Right. Right.
right? And he's
Yeah.
blocked multiple things. I think he's blocked multiple things that the previous Trump administration was doing too with the census. He
Mhm.
also stepped in, and his brother was the economic advisor to President Obama. So we know how
Okay.
that web goes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that judge, that's the one that went unhinged. Sam, we won every day that trial,
Mhm.
every day. And guess what? At the end, the judge basically said, just charge them like investment advisors.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, wasn't didn't Kaplan hasn't Kaplan kind of bragged about being able to go after Trump and others?
I
I
believe
feel like
so.
I feel
Yes,
like he's been caught saying things. I'll
he's
have
been
to look
vocal.
into that.
I think there was a petition also filed about him
Mhm.
that 200 and some odd lawyers wanted to get him recused from a case because he was a shareholder of Chevron and he ruled for Chevron.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
When in God's green earth can you get 200 some odd lawyers to agree on something?
Right.
Right?
Right.
They filed a petition to do it, and it was basically toilet paper.
Yeah. I'm just trying to rack my brain onto who else you'd be able to talk to that could, kind of get your story heard and
The
like
Trump kids, I guess his kids, but
yeah,
you know,
right.
I mean, I've been as a member, I've been kind of like there's been a wall. I used to be a member of Trump Jupiter, and it's
Mhm.
almost like the staff has blocked communication.
Yeah.
I'm not a member anymore, but I can't afford it anymore. But I think communication has been blocked, or they've been told to block communication, and I really don't think that that's the way it should be, because like my son used to always play football with uh,
Yeah.
Eric's son and my daughter, and but whether in Jupiter or in Bedminster, New Jersey, when we would go up north. So,
Right. Yeah.
they had a relationship. I didn't have a relationship with the Trump kids, but
Yeah.
my kids, they were friendly with they weren't friends. They just played together when they were there together.
Right. Right. Before we started recording, you mentioned something about SpaceX. Can you talk to me about that a little bit more?
Absolutely. So we owned private shares of SpaceX going back, what's 2026? So let's say 6 years. And SpaceX just recently filed to go public.
Okay.
Now, weeks before the announcement of SpaceX announcing that they were going to go public, the court appointed receiver, Judge Kaplan's friend, we'll call her that just point of
Okay.
reference, uh, and
Yeah.
she sold the shares. I haven't really looked to who, but
Hmm.
I don't know why she would just run to sell the shares of SpaceX when our fund was predicated on, when these companies go public, we used the after the 6 month holding period to get out. We used the stock
Hmm.
market to get out. So they sold SpaceX and I think a 8 to a 10x, which is a phenomenal return.
Yeah.
But in
Yeah.
turn, I think they've withheld, I think from 20 up to 40x return the clients could have made on the SpaceX
Oh.
IPO. And, and I do believe a lot of that money is going to be held back for fees,
Yeah.
for their fees. So
Okay.
they're crushing people again,
Yeah.
which is unbelievable.
Yes. Now, one of the things that you sent me, it mentions, I believe it's an 82-year-old who basically he chose to put his retirement into this, right? And
Correct.
now what's happening with him?
So Sam, a lot of people that became so the reason why they blocked the receiver, the difference between the receiver and us in the trial was because they needed to paint victims because they couldn't
Hmm.
get victims.
Hmm.
They've been calling our clients and nobody has come forward to, even to this day, to come forward as a victim.
Okay.
So they brought in victims that they were saying at trial that this man put his whole retirement account. It wasn't a retirement account. The gentleman put a trust account. The gentleman made a lot of money with the first two or three holdings that he had. And because he chose to leave some money and put some into other investments,
Hmm.
oh, now his whole retirement's gone. That's the picture that they paint, right? With the AUSA, is
Yeah.
this 82-year-old man is all his money's gone because he left it in the fund. But they objections across the board when you're like, no, he pulled some money out. No, we can't show that. It's part of the motion to eliminate. So you can't show that this gentleman really did pull some money out. So it's like,
Hmm.
and during the court case, they had four victims. The one gentleman invested in the fund and nothing went public. That gentleman, I think, invested into the fund late 2020 into 21. So
Okay.
by the end of 21, they were taking the company from us. They were preparing to take the company from us, and it happened in May of 22. Uh,
Okay.
the other three investors came. One lady, who they depicted as a nice, sweet old lady, which she was,
Hmm.
but they were leaving out the fact that she owned a PR firm for about 30 years, so she's a businesswoman.
Yeah.
And her family, and her and her husband's best friend is a gentleman who's their accountant,
Hmm.
who she called the company to invest because of her friend's success in Palantir,
Okay.
Airbnb, and SoFi.
Yeah.
But she's angry because the receiver, her investments in Plaid and Chime and whatever else, had not gone public. and the receiver's dwindling her assets, right?
Hmm.
I'd be mad too. The other gentleman they brought in is a forensic accountant who
Okay.
claimed he didn't know anything. You're a forensic accountant. You know a little bit more than the average person about me,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So either is he a forensic accountant in the dark with his eyes closed, or they brought him
Right.
as a forensic accountant. And the reason he invested in the fund, again, he sought us to invest
Hmm.
because his father and his father's best friend made a lot of money in Palantir, Airbnb, Pinterest, whatever other investments.
Uh-huh.
He still made a lot of money with us. And he's bitter because his investment is tied up. So we had, again, sophisticated investors,
Yeah.
right? The first lady ran a PR firm. Uh, the other gentleman that uh, was a big real estate big investor all across the board.
Uh-huh.
This forensic accountant,
Yeah.
they all knew what they were doing. And the other
Right.
investor, I forgot what he did, which was the 82-year-old man, but he
Hmm.
made money also with our initial holdings, and he chose to leave some money in the fund.
Right.
Everybody that invested with us was sophisticated and well versed, because
Uh-huh.
if you were an unaccredited investor, which is less than $200,000 a year in annual
Okay.
income and less than $1 million net worth, excluding your home,
Hmm.
we would not take you as a client.
Okay. Yeah.
So
So, okay. So you're not, it's not like you're taking, it's not like you took clients. I guess to me, it sounds like they're trying to say that you took advantage of people, but considering you wouldn't even deal with people who weren't well versed, like you said, that those people would understand the risks that they took, and they signed contracts, right? So it it just seems that because you were successful in taking money out of other entities that have a lot of power and have a lot of money, that they are coming up with whatever crime they can scrounge up out of the crumbs of dirt and going to the outskirts to try to find victims. And
correct.
it, and nothing's going to be perfect. Like, you're never going to make everybody happy. How many investors did you have?
2,200.
Yeah, okay, sorry, you said that earlier. So they found 4 people that were yeah, just doesn't
They found like a total of 8, right?
Okay.
To write letter. The other 4 wrote letters. So let's say a total of 8.
Okay. Out of
8.
22,000
2,200. 8 out of 2,200. I
or
mean, I mean,
2,200. Yeah.
I mean, th- think about it.
That's it, yeah, I mean, honestly, those stats are so good compared to anything else. Like, you run a restaurant or something like that. Let's say a restaurant serves 2,200 people in a month or something like that. You're going to have more than 8 complaints. You know,
Yeah,
that's just part of it. The humans complain,
it's cost of
if
doing business. I get it. And you know what?
exactly.
I'm glad you used the restaurant analogy, because the commingling and the wire fraud and all that, that's how they tried to do, right? So
Yeah.
I'm a restaurant. Tonight I still out of all the steak, but I still got to pay the
Mhm.
chicken and I got to pay the fish bill, right? But I sold all
Right.
my steak tonight. So if I sold all
Yeah.
my steak, hey, listen, let's take all this money and pay the chicken and the fish, and that way it's pure profit when it's all paid. So
Right.
that's where their commingling kind of came from. That they said we were taking the money and paying for all the shares of, like, let's say Palantir, and we
Uh-huh.
took that money after it's all paid. So we took our percentage profit, right? Our
Yeah.
profit, our markup money. Instead of cutting ourselves a check,
Yeah.
we would take that profit and either pay for Airbnb or Pinterest or whatever else we owed at that given moment. Because,
Yeah.
certain companies have certain more demand than others.
Right. Right. Yeah.
And there's still like $100 million in cash in the fund, by the way.
Right. Right. This is wild. I I don't know.
It'd be wild if it wasn't my life, but it's a nice.
Right, right. Yeah, for you, it's wild in a bad way. It's it's gotta be terrifying. It's yeah. Um, I don't know. I'll do what I can to get this spread out and hope I just hope that, that you can get your word out and, get that part in ASAP. Um, how are you doing with, getting on other shows and stuff like that? Are you finding enough
I'm
from
having
where
a little bit of a, I've hit a little bit of a wall. The largest show I did was Diamond and Silk.
okay. Which I
Uh,
mean, yeah. Yeah, you had
you
a
know,
couple others that are pretty well known on
Ann
there.
Vandersteel, she's taken kind of my case a little bit under her wing, and she's been advocating for us pretty hard because she's gotten really deep into the math,
Mhm.
and and she's like, no, they're getting screwed, and she's dealt with some other SEC cases and so on. Um, I've done the case for America a couple times,
Uh-huh.
uh, and that's it. But I mean, I unfortunately to get to the audience of one, I have to hit a big network,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
or a big publication has to write about us,
Yeah.
and it's just that's where like the media doesn't care. They just want to regurgitate the same. Oh, that one missile flew over the cuckoo's nest today.
Mhm. Right. Is there anything else you'd like the audience to know?
Just pray for me. Don't
Yeah.
pray for me. Pray for my wife and kids.
Yeah.
I, I'm
Yeah.
I'm here. I'm here doing these things for them because
Yeah.
I have to fight for them.
Yeah.
It's a
Yes.
tough fight, and I got to tell you, it's a tough fight. And if it was probably just me myself, I would have given up a long time. I can't.
Right. Right.
I, I can't fail them. My job as a father and a husband is to provide and protect.
Yeah.
Two things I'm having a tough time doing these days.
Right. Right. Well, there's some time. I mean, it doesn't feel like it, but there is a little bit of time
There is.
and yeah. Um, all right. Is there anywhere people can find you or support you or
They can find me on X and Mike C0921.
okay.
Um, the American Alliance helped me with a Give Send Go and Mike C Give Send Go Mike C Legal.
Okay.
And
Mike C. Legal.
but X prayers I think are, even though it's tough to keep the lights on, I think the prayers are more important than the money.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I want to thank you for being here and please keep me updated if you want to
I
book
will.
again, you know, and
I will.
if there's any movement, you're welcome anytime. Okay.
Thank you so much.